1. We have ignition, and we have liftoff of the Titan Centaur, carrying the first of 2 Voyager spacecraft to extend man's senses farther into the solar system than ever before.
What is extraordinary is that the Voyager program was so front and center, like the moon missions, and there is not one person I could ask today where they would think that it's still going on. Did you have the same notion coming into the project? And how did it help you develop and delineate the story of Voyager in 2022?
Well, when I started, I had somewhat of an idea, but it kind of started a few years before. I had heard an episode on Radiolab called "Is There an Edge to the Heavens?" And it was about Voyager. And it was about the whole mission, but what really stuck with me was the second half of the episode, which dealt with, the last 30 years of the mission, where it's just been going and going, and the people working on it were just waiting and waiting for it to breach interstellar space. And I didn't know. I had heard about Voyager in passing, and I knew it had about the Prime mission, but I didn't know, like, oh my gosh, this thing is still going, and there are people still working on it and waiting for it to send back information. They were just these patient, loyal caretakers of the Voyager spacecraft, and that they were working in this very drab, ordinary office space, on a nondescript street next to a McDonald's, and here they are at the leading edge of discovery. I just thought that was such a beautiful dichotomy and a beautiful story of commitment for the sake of science. I mean, they're there for discovery and just that innate human curiosity to find out what is out there, what is beyond us. And I think it's just so inspiring that they had this beautiful commitment to it.
So there is something about Voyager vis-a-vis your film that elicits emotion. For all of our achievements since Apollo and our new digital world, there is still an explorer that we launched 45 years ago that's still exploring farther than anything that has gone from Earth. How would you describe the soul of Voyager after living with it for a period of time putting this film together?
A lot of the engineers describe it as the little engine that could. I mean, it's this very, it's not the most beautiful spacecraft. It's kind of this spidery looking thing, and it's kind of otherworldly looking, but it is just, it has the same determination that the engineers who are steering it have. It's just, it refuses to quit. It just keeps going and going. Despite the environment that it's in, that is very hostile and lonely and very much like the engineers are, not as hostile, but it is kind of lonely. They were kind of pushed off the main campus of JPL and pushed aside. But yeah, it's just this. It is the little engine that just won't quit, and now they just keep pushing the years and how far they think it can keep going.
Well, much of our world is encapsulated in the mundane, and you nicely illustrated this contrast of analog clocks and handwritten signs amidst the control center of an explorer that is farther away than any other. What were you trying to relate regarding the mundane settings for this miraculous continuing mission?
I think just that. I think, my impression before I started this was, well, Voyager, this interstellar mission, it has to be in big mission control at JPL. And there is a mission control at JPL, and it's very grand. It's what you would picture in a sci-fi movie. And we got to tour it when we first went there. And it is so different from the Voyager offices, which is, it looks like it could be an insurance agency. It could be a financial advisor's office. It just does not look anything like you would picture a interstellar mission would be, or was taking place. And I really, that's what drew me into the story, was that office. I was like, wow. So I really wanted to emphasize that here they are in these gray cubicles and fluorescent lighting and the wood paneled conference room, which I loved. That was my favorite space in the whole office. It was just so stuck in the 70s, stuck in the era that Voyager was launched. And I thought that was just such a beautiful visual and contrast to deep dark space and this very ordinary human space, office space.
Yeah. There are two things I remember about Voyager: how it became a plot point in the first Star Trek movie, and I believe there was a panel of sound and images sent with it that would give an extraterrestrial information about Earth.
Yeah.
What are your two views on these pop culture aspects of Voyager now that you've explored the Explorer?
I see. I know it was part of. There was a reference to Star Trek. I'm not a Trekkie to say the least. I don't think I've ever watched an episode of Star Trek.
Good Lord!
I know. The Golden Record is just a phenomenal, beautiful, romantic aspect of Voyager. I make a very small reference to it in the film. I don't know if you caught it. It's very subtle. That was deliberate because, I again, want to make this more about the engineers. And there's a beautiful film called The Farthest, which does a wonderful job about the Golden Record. And it's probably what people would most know about Voyager is the Golden Record. It's such an amazing, beautiful idea to send images of Earth and sounds of Earth and music, just to know that that's out there and will be out there going forever and ever and ever. The chances that some alien life form picks it up, slim to none, I suppose, but who knows? Just that slim possibility, and that they saw that as an opportunity to send this message, I think is so tremendous, and the most beautiful aspect of Voyager.
The Voyager is not human, but there is a humanity involved with the engineers that embrace the mission. What did you observe as the overriding feeling between these brainiacs as they went beyond your interviews and into your memory?
Soon Matsumoto, who's featured in the film, I think she had the most emotional attachment to it, and she says, she feels like it's a part of her. They've spent, Soon and Enrique and Jefferson and Susie, even, they've spent most of their careers with this Voyager probe. There's a lot of pride among them. They've come from a lot of them marginalized communities.
Yeah.
Soon South Korea, Enrique, Mexico, and Colombia for Fernando, and the Deep South for Jefferson. And they've come together to form this diverse team that is leading humanity's furthest explorer and its greatest space mission, and it will be the greatest space mission for our lifetime, for probably many lifetimes after us. And here they are together, this small team, leading it, driving it, taking care of it. And I think they're very humble, but I think there's a lot of pride among them. But there is a finality to it, and I think as they get older, that's becomes sadder and more emotional. And
where do you think Voyager will end up once the mission is complete, and how do you want it to retire based on what you learned about it?
Well, it'll I don't know where it'll go. I mean, it'll go forever and ever. I think the number is like in 40,000 years, it'll get to like the nearest next star. Like it's some massive number that's so mind-boggling. Just the vastness of space. Like I think it's just going to go. There's just nothing around it for thousands and thousands of years, and it's moving at 38,000 miles an hour. Both of them are, and so it'll just go and go and go. But I would just want its legacy to be this. It's the ambition of and the human ingenuity to have this idea and the brilliance to figure out how to send two spacecraft that not only go by all the giant outer planets, but then just keep going into interstellar space, driven by this curiosity of what is out there, what can we discover beyond ourselves. Voyager was a mission built on pure science and pure human curiosity of what is out there. And I hope in the future, far future, probably not going to be in our lifetime or any lifetimes after us for a while. But I hope there are more missions like Voyager that just are built on that just pure curiosity and discovery and the adventure and exploration.
This is Patrick McDonald for HollywoodChicago.com. Copyright 2022.